All right, so dialing for dollars. Yay! Who wants to pick up the phone and make a bunch of phone calls? Nobody said, all right? Nobody really wants to do that in today's age. I mean, we are actually, the less we talk on the phone, I think a lot of times the happier we are. But unfortunately, in the note investing world, you have to kind of embrace the fact that you're going to talk to some people, including asset managers, when it's coming to helping you find note deals. Now, we've laid the groundwork quite a bit the last couple of days, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4 today, to get to where today's topic, wherever you're watching this, is going to be really valuable for you as well out there. So dialing for dollars. Yes, I'm a big believer of smiling while dialing. Now, if you're not in a good mood and you hate the phone, then guess what? Don't do this, because you will. If you call with a bad attitude, frown, mumbling, you're going to just shoot yourself in the foot and cause more harm than good. All right. But as we've talked the last couple of nights, we talked about Lane Guide, using laneguide.com to create a list of asset managers. We've also talked about last night, in day 3, using the Texas Savings and Mortgage Lending to create a list of mortgage bankers, servicing companies. These are 2 lists that are really valuable to you. Okay. Besides you just pulling traditional phone numbers and dialing a wild card, using these 2 lists can help you really prime that pump in getting deals. Now, I'm a big believer that you should email first. All right. We talked about email blasts last night or the night before, and getting the word out on what you're doing. The same comes with asset managers. Get an email blast out first to your list. And then those that open their email, those are the ones that you call. The ones that bounce, that are no longer there. Now you can call the general number at the bank or the institution and use a warm name. Hey, I used to work with John Smith. It looks like he's no longer there. I'd love to talk to him first, but email it out. Give them 48 hours. We'll talk a little bit here about when you should be emailing here in a second. But give it 48 hours, and then you can see if you're using an email service provider like MailChimp or Aweber or Keep or anything like that, you can see who's opened your emails more than once, open your emails and connected or clicked on links, and that's an important thing, okay? Now, here's the thing. If you're going to dial for dollars, I know many of you guys are working full-time, and I get it. That's quite all right. You may not have the time to do this, so you want to lean heavily on the Lane Guide side of things. But everybody can still send an email out, okay? Everybody can send an email out. And if you're going to make 50 phone calls, you're probably going to get about 20 conversations approximately where you actually get a hold of the person. It's a pretty good hit rate at 40%. And then you're probably going to have about a 20% hit rate off of that with non-disclosure agreements. Now, out of the NDAs you sign, you may get a variety of takes. You may get some scratch and dent. You may get a one-off note. You may get a commercial deal. You may get a big portfolio. It's all going to vary, and I can't control what that is. But I can tell you that the average, the law of numbers we see, if you make 50 phone calls, you should at least on the low end side talk to 13 people, either gatekeepers or the right person if you're following the scripts that we use. And out of those, you're going to sign some non-disclosures. That's what an NDA stands for. That's a form that the bank will send you to sign off on before they release information to you, okay? Now, the most important thing you can do to make your time valuable is track who you call and when you called them, okay? And Excel, Google Sheets is one of the easiest things to do. The name of the bank, the person you spoke to, the number you called, the time you called. And then the result, you left a message, they took a message for you, you got email, something that you can keep track of. Now, if you've ever seen me dial for dollars or in the calling the bank asset managers, and we've got a couple of videos on YouTube of me dialing for dollars for 3 to 4 hours or 5 hours, you'll see how I kind of track it. I have the bank name, the person I talked to, the email, or the phone number I called, and what was the outcome of it, okay? Now, if you're going to be leaving a lot of voice messages. I'm just going to tell you here, always, always, always leave a message. If you don't leave a message, you basically just wasted your time. Now, yes, I know you're going to get transferred and hung up on, disconnected. I get it. Heck, it happens to me still. Don't use an auto dialer, okay? This is, unfortunately, a one phone call at a time. An auto dialer isn't going to help. I also wouldn't necessarily use a VA, a virtual assistant, to dial for dollars for you initially. I would have you do it, record your script, get comfortable with what you want to do first, and then outsource it. Because one of the best ways to train a VA is to record you making like 20 to 30 phone calls and then providing that to the VA. Hint, hint, wink, wink. But always, always leave a message so that when you call back the second time or the third time, or you send an email at the end of the day, or you track the person down on LinkedIn, you can always say, hey, I left you a message today. Okay. Follow up. Like I said, follow up on LinkedIn. If you find that you get the right name, then jump on LinkedIn and see if they're on there. If they're on there and they have a picture and more than 500 contacts, they're probably on LinkedIn. If you find their name and they don't have a profile photo on LinkedIn or less than 500 contacts on LinkedIn, they're probably not on LinkedIn. But you can still find who they looked at, and they're also coworkers, other people with the same titles. Okay. Now, if you have their email address, okay, follow up with another personal email. Don't send it through MailChimp necessarily. I mean, you guess you could, but I think it would be better to send that second email, more of a personal email. Hey, just wanted to let you know, just wanted to touch base with you. I saw that you opened my email from 2 days ago. I left you a voice message and connected with on LinkedIn, because you'll see the reason why we talk about it, because you want to be touching base with these people multiple times. And the more you can touch them, that sounds kind of creepy. The more you can get in touch with them, the better off you'll be. 80% of sales comes after the fifth contact. I can't tell you the number of people I know and have taught that make phone calls once and that's all they ever do it. And that's just not, if this is the most valuable, really the most valuable piece of marketing you can do. So people hate it, but it is also one of the most effective things that you can do connecting with people. Now, if you get a gatekeeper, an assistant, ask them to listen. Okay, great. They may not put you through to voicemail. Okay, great. Do you have his email, or could you share your email and I can send you? I want to respect you or their time. Okay. Always ask for an email. If you've been transferred, make sure you ask for their phone number again. Ask, okay, could you give me your boss's name? Sorry, don't mean to bother you. Would you mind spelling that out so I just can make notes here to follow back up within a month or so like that? But always ask for your email, either theirs, the gatekeepers, or the asset manager who you're talking to. All right. It's one of the most important things that you can do. All right. Now, simple scripts. You're going to be leaving a lot of scripts. You want to practice this. Okay. And a very simple script is kind of like this. Okay. Hello, my name is Scott Carson with Inverse Asset Fund. I believe you are the person in charge of your firm's distressed note sales or special assets department. I wanted to check with you to see if you might have any notes that you're looking to move this quarter. We're looking for residential loans from 100 to 500K and small balance commercial loans under 5 million. I'd love to schedule a call with your convenience. Thanks. My email is scott@weclosenotes.com and my phone number is 512-585-3810. Once again, my phone number is 512-585-3810, and I look forward to talking to you. Thank you. Pretty short and sweet. I could say that in my sleep, all right? And here's the most magical thing that you can do. When I first started off, practice. What's intimidating and what scares people the most is they don't know what they're going to say. They don't know if people are going to be excited to make a phone call, but then they're going to be like, oh, crap, they actually answered the phone. The more you can practice, the better off you'll be. If you've ever taken my 3-day virtual workshop, you know we have a variety of scripts in there. If you're a VIP, sign up for this. We'll include those scripts and some other things in there as well to help you out with that. Now, if they answer, oh my gosh, scary time, right? People will like to run screaming and hang up the phone. All right. If they answer, kudos to you. All right. That's a good thing. All right. Now, a funny story is like the second class I was ever teaching 10 years ago now, roughly. It was a small class in Dallas. Lady was on the phone. Wendy DeWeese, I remember her. Wendy made her first phone call, and an asset manager picked up on the very first ring of the first phone call. She didn't expect it. And he had a deal, and it was just hilarious. She's like, oh my gosh. So I'm like pantomiming there, like, writing out what to say. We had them on speakerphone and we're going back and forth, but they will answer. Remember, out of 50 phone calls, you probably talk to 20 people. So you want to have your script kind of ready to rock and roll. Practice it. Tweak this for your own kind of thing. Practice a few times. Role play with your friend, whatever it might be. Just leave the whips and chains out of the role playing. Hello, my name is Scott Carson with Inverse Asset Fund. I believe you are the person in charge of your firm's distressed note sales or special assets department. Is that you or the right person? Great. I wanted to check with you to see if you might have any notes that you're looking to move this quarter. We're looking for resi loans from 1 to 500K and small balance commercial loans under 5 million. We're buying in most of the major markets, major and secondary markets for our own portfolio. And I'd love to look at what you're looking to move off your books this quarter next. We can usually give you a tentative bid in 24 to 48 hours. Okay. Pretty simple. That's what you're looking for. They may ask you what you're looking for. Well, here you go. The reason we're generic about this stuff is it's generic enough that it's easy for them just to hit download, forward to the list if you need to. We always say we're buying for our own portfolio, even if we're going to, some of them we're going to wholesale. We're always buying for a portfolio. We're talking about the loan size. They'll ask pricing wise, and that's where it gets in a little bit more in the FAQs. Pricing will vary on location, foreclosure time frame, how far the borrower's behind, what type of asset. A lot of things they'll go into that. That's why we're good at giving bids back in 24 to 40 hours once we've got the information. I don't quote bids on the phone, but I tell people we'll go up to 70% in some cases if it's close to an REO, and we'll go from there. Now, if they tell you that they got performing notes or they've got non-performing, but they want par for it, then it's not worth wasting your time. Par means basically if they owe 100, they're trying to sell it at 100. And if it's a non-performing note, you're not going to pay par for it. So one of the great things that I always ask, if you talk on the phone, try to ask and find out what kind of pricing point they're looking for. If you get a tape, congratulations, kudos to you. But a tape in doesn't mean anything unless you know exactly what kind of price point they're looking for. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's important to know what kind of price. Okay. Now, I like to kind of automate this a little bit. All right. Now, remember, we talked about on day one jumping on LinkedIn and typing special asset managers or chief credit risk officers or secondary marketing department. I would do this too. I would go on there, and this is something that you guys can technically kind of do virtual dialing for dollars, no matter what your schedule is. And you can do this at nights. You can do this on the weekends. You can do this when you're sitting at work bored. You could jump on LinkedIn and send a message to asset managers and keep it short. Okay. Sending an invite out to somebody on LinkedIn, you only have 300 characters. So it's different than sending an email blast out. It's smaller. Okay. Now, one of the things I like to do is I automate my asset manager reach outs via Octopus. That's why we talked so much about it the other night, is that I can pull over 500 to 1,000 special asset managers into the Octopus thing and automate my CRM tool. Now, I'll show you a little bit later here how we do it with investors on the networking side in a few minutes. Okay. Now, here's what I have in my message. Hello, and that's the first name and last name. Hello, Steve. I wanted to see if you're the correct person at blank company who handles your firm's distressed loan sales. I'd love to connect to see if you have what you have on your books that you're looking to get rid of in the fourth quarter that we can buy for our own portfolio. Thanks, Scott Carson. Now, what you want to do as well that I've worked well is you might want to take time, if you've got the setup, you might want to record a short little video, a short pitch video, 1 to 2 minutes, talking more about your company. Hey, we've been in distressed assets for 20 years in the Atlanta area, but we're buying in roughly about 5 major states. We're buying for our own portfolio. This is the type of assets we're looking for. Just something simple. Check out our website, weclosedoors.com. A 1 to 2 minute pitch video. We've done this in the past, and it has worked really well. We upload the video to YouTube, and we put the link to the YouTube video in here. We might even use a bit.ly link so we can mask the YouTube link, but then we can also track how many people actually click on the bit.ly link so we can see. And it works well. That's a great way to see how many messages people are actually clicking on your links. And every time somebody clicked on the video, we actually got a phone call or a connection, which is really great. So using LinkedIn Messenger message connections is really, really effective for you to do. It's something that you can do. Roughly, you can connect with about 100 people a day, whether it's investors or asset managers. I start off my day by trying to connect with 100 new people, either whether it's investors or asset managers. That's what we try to do. But this is a great way to automate it. And then when people actually respond to you, then I try to get them connected. Hey, what's your best email? What's your best phone number? And then we pull their information over into our CRM so we can add them to our email lists. Okay. Now, if you're going to be calling, best times to call or email. All right. Best times to call or email. You don't want to call every time, and you have to keep in time understand what time zone that asset manager might be in. Best times to call are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Call middle of the week, just like emailing, if you remember the other night. If you're going to get in a call period, then call from 10 a.m. to noon, their time zone, or 2 to 5 p.m., their time zone. So if you're on the East Coast, guess what? You can call the West Coast when you get home at 5 o'clock for a couple hours. If you're on the West Coast, guess what? You got to get up awful early to call on the East Coast. But this is why you want to do a mixture of emailing, LinkedIn connections, and phone calls to follow up. Now, if you can't connect with them during the day, then you may want to do it during your lunch break or kind of figuring out how that time zone matches up. Okay. The worst time to call. You don't want to call Monday. You don't want to call Friday, but also avoid the last week of the month and the quarter. The reason the last week of the month and the quarter are bad times to call because they're busy dealing with reports. They don't have time to talk with you. They're not going to close anything that last week anyway. So avoid it. Don't call the last week of the month or the last week of the quarter. Call the first week, call the second week, call the third week, but don't call the last week of the month or quarter. It just doesn't work out well. Okay. You'll be leaving way more messages and people will be a bit more grumpy because they're trying to get deals out. Right. Now, if you're going to call, carve out 2 hours, get in a roll, if you're going to do this, give yourself 2 hours. Don't do 30 minutes or an hour and be distracted. I get people all the time. Oh, I called banks. Really, how many did you call? Well, I called like 10. I'm like, that's nothing. I'm like, come on. That's nothing. Call 1,000 people and then tell me it doesn't work. Okay? Because it does work if you do get in a rhythm. And Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you pick an hour or 2 hours a day on Tuesday or 2 hours on Thursday. Do it once or twice a week. You'll see it's not that bad. All right? And it actually is something you'll be good at. You'll get in a rhythm and keep that rhythm going. Avoid distractions. Turn off the TVs, your email. Just get in rock and rolling for it, okay? Doug asks a good question. He goes, when you tell them you're looking for notes from 100K to 500K, is that original note value, UPB, FMV of the property? Usually, you could say either or on values of over 100 grand or on UPB of 100K. Rarely will you get a bank that has notes below 75K. Okay, so my calling banks and asset managers, most of the time it's going to be over 100K in value, 100K in UPB. Okay? All right. Does that make sense there, Doug? Now, it also depends on when the loan was written 5 years ago in this default. They may be a whole lot more than what it was. But 100K, you're just doing this to make it simple. Keep it simple. The more complicated you try to make it, you don't want to come across, say, hey, I got 20 million to buy this month. If you had 20 million to buy, you wouldn't be on the phone. It'd be somebody else. Get what I'm saying? Don't say that. Don't tell them you're a buyer's mandate. Don't tell them you're a buyer's rep. Screw that stuff. That screams joker broker. Okay? What you want to do more than anything else is say you're buying for your own portfolio. I'd love to see what you have in your books that we can make an offer on. By we, it's you and your company, you and your cohorts. Okay? Be you and your dog. Here's a game that I like to play. I take every no as being worth $500. Now, a little bit about when I got started. When I started calling banks back 13 years ago, golly, 2000, I remember pulling a list off of LinkedIn and just dollar for dollars. I knew I came across an assignment of mortgage with Capital One Commercial. All right. Nope, Doug, if you don't need to register, you're good, Doug. You're already taken care of. Okay. All right. Every note is worth $500. So I knew that Capital One had some commercial notes for sale. So I started dialing for dollars. I started to track down the right department in Capital One. And over a 3-week period of time, I'm not joking, I tracked it. I made 70 phone calls, 69 transfers, bad phone numbers. I had to basically, it was over 3 weeks because I would do it once a week for an hour or two. And I would just focus on Capital One because I knew that this deal that I was looking to buy, the note got sold from under me on this 4-unit retail center off of Airport Boulevard here in Austin, Texas. And so I'm dialing. I finally get to the right department, right person, Amy Grasso. Okay, get her on the phone. I look at my number. It's the 70th phone call. Great. She sends me a list. We end up flipping a list. Flipping an 8-unit apartment complex in San Diego. We made 35 grand on. Okay, it was like a 30-day process to make 35 grand. Got her in contract. We marketed it off. We got her in contract for $375. We basically sold the note, flipped the paper for $415. It's a good day making 35 grand. Okay, good month to make 35 grand. So I took 35 grand and divided by 70, and guess what I came up with? $500 a no. So keep that. Every no you get, every transfer you get, you're closer to a yes. So play that game. It makes it that much easier for you as long as you stick with it. If you make 5 phone calls and get no's and hang up, you're just wasted your time. Keep making phone calls. Now, if you're going to email, you can set up your email service provider to send out emails at a future date. Okay. Email Tuesday through Thursday, either at 10 a.m. or 2 p.m., depending on their time zone. Okay. Now, if you get a group of list of emails, you're like, well, Scott, I don't know what their time zone is. That's okay. You may want to upgrade if you're using like a MailChimp that you can upgrade so that it goes out to their time zone. You can actually, it's called a time warp feature. Otherwise, just send it at 10 a.m. On the West Coast time, okay, or wherever you are basically at. Send it out and start tracking it. You can start seeing when people open their emails at what time, okay? Now, those that open their email, remember, you send it on a Tuesday, Thursday, it's 48 hours later, you can start calling those people on Thursday that open their email, okay? That's a good thing. Now, that's who I would call. You probably have a 10 to 15% open rate the first time you send an email, a 5 to 10 on the second, and 1 to 3, 1 to 4 on the third time you send an email out to those that didn't open up. So you send it out on a Tuesday, send a follow-up email on Thursday to those that didn't open. On the following Tuesday, send an email to those that didn't open the first or the second one email, okay? And send it opposite times. If you send it at 11 a.m., send it at 3 o'clock. If you send it at 2 o'clock the first time, send it at 11 a.m. or 10 a.m. Just get in the habit of doing this on a monthly basis. It doesn't take much to do this, but by sending the emails out, you'll see who's opening your emails. That's going to become your hot list to call, especially if you can see who's opened your email more than once. All right. Now, what you might want to do is also include a booking link in your email. Okay, let's schedule a phone call. Here's my link to jump on my calendar. And I'll talk a little bit about that with networking here later on, but include a booking link. I use Calendly. I have an asset manager calendar for them, or it's a 15-minute phone call. They can book it. It's name, email, phone number, their bank, and that's about it. Very simple, short and sweet. So they're booked, and they can book any time on my schedule. All right, and I take that back. Not every time. I don't do Mondays, but I do basically Tuesday through Fridays for them from basically 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, because there's some people on the West Coast that will call me at 5 o'clock their time, and that's fine. So keep it short and sweet. Your booking link, keep your emails at your phone. Don't want them to be long diaries of the mouth. You want to keep it to that, remember, 10 to 20 lines of text in an email, something simple, very simple to what we just included in the previous slides for you. Okay, now once you have spoken to them, once you've actually spoken to them or you've exchanged emails back and forth, place them into a separate list than your main list. Because you don't need to send them, hey, are you the right person? Hey, are you the right person? Hey, you're the right person. Because they're the right person. Okay. So once you've actually spoken to them, I like to put them on a warm email list. As I say, I'm just touching base with you. Hey, just wanted to touch base with you for February. So what do you have? What are you looking to move this month? Okay, what are you looking to move this quarter? Just touching base. If you see anything, I'd love an introduction or I'd love to talk. Very short, direct, straight to the point. It's a very simplified email. It does have my logo across it, and it's still called the green email, but it's not. It's about a third as long as the rest of my emails are that go to asset managers. It's just touching base with you for February, just touching base for you for March. Okay. Now, one of the things I do with my one-on-one coaching students is actually have created basically 12 months of email titles that'll go out to them. So that kind of sparks their interest. It makes them laugh a little bit if you're sending out two generic lists. But once you've spoken to somebody, put them on a separate list. It's like your warm buddies. Hey, what's going on this month? Like I got a bunch of asset managers I call, hey, what do you have this month? What do you got this quarter that you're looking to get? Because I've spoken with them before. Hey, this is Scott. How's it going, man? We shoot the breeze for a few seconds and we move on. Okay. Now here's the thing. I don't send direct mail out to asset managers. If I pull a list off of Link Guide or Texas Savings Mortgage Lending, don't send direct mail because you don't know if it's going to go to the right spot. But if somebody does send you the list, okay, they send you a list and then on their email have their information, address, and located. Hey, make sure you say thank you. Send them an email. Hey, just want to say thanks for sending the list over. All right. And if they send you a list, make sure you let them know you got it. Now, even if it has stuff that doesn't make sense, if it's scratch and dent stuff or stuff that they want too much, say thank you. I've received your list. I don't see anything on this right now that hits what we're looking for. But thank you for doing. The worst thing you can do is give the list and then not respond to the asset manager because he's like, he or she's like, okay, did you get it? Did you not get it? So I always respond, say thank you. I received it. We'll have an answer back to you in 24 to 48 hours. Okay. And I always like try to do 48 hours. Now, if I see stuff on here that's not anything at all with what I have, in that 48-hour period, I want to make sure and ask them, hey, what kind of pricing point? What's the price stuff that you're looking for on this? Anything I should know? And then I can come back in 48 hours and say, hey, thank you. There's nothing on this. Or, hey, thank you. We would like to make an offer on a couple of these. Okay. Now, here's the thing, too. Most special asset managers or secondary marketing peeps, they're only handling one side of the bank's loans. They're usually handling if they're handling resi, they're handling commercial. If they're handling commercial, they're not handling residential. A lot of the bigger banks, they may have one person in charge of residential, but then multiple people in charge of commercial based on the assets and the location and geographic speaking. Okay. So keep that in mind. So if you're talking to somebody, ask for referrals. Hey, you're in charge of residential. Do you know who handles the commercial side? Are you the only asset manager there that handles that? Are there other hedge fund guys there, other managers, people that are handling other assets that you want? Can you make an introduction to me? Okay. If they don't have something now, then follow up monthly. A lot of the conversations we're having with asset managers is this: hey, I don't have anything right now, but follow up with me later date. Okay, I follow up with a month, follow up with a quarter. Follow up on a monthly basis. Put that in your calendar, book it, and stick to it. Okay. Follow up with an email, a phone call, and a LinkedIn message to those people if they're on those three. Hey, just let you a voice message. Hey, just touch base. They appreciate when you follow up. They really do, because they're busy just like you and me. And if they get sidetracked, they may forget to call back. So just follow up on a monthly basis. Expect it to follow up. Okay. Now, if you end up closing on something, you buy something, or you end up buying something from the bank, what I like to do is I'll send a thank you note. And most people don't know that bankers can accept up to $100 a gift up to $100 value once a year from you. So I am notorious for sending, their favorite poison, bottle of vodka, a good bottle of wine. I sent one asset manager a case of her favorite wine. I was in Vegas. I'm not in Vegas. I was in Miami, and I took a couple guys that were asset managers at U.S. Century Bank. I took them to a Miami Heat game, and we had a great night out. As an ex-banker, I know that I can accept up to $100, a gift, not $100 cash. But you get what I'm saying. So keep that in mind. A lot of these guys and gals with special assets, they're incentivized to move stuff off their books at the end of the quarter. It's been an interesting time now, but keep that in mind. A thank you note goes a long way. Okay. If it's a female asset manager, a spa finder is a really good thing. We send a lot of spa finder stuff to female asset managers. And they could go get their nails done or get a pedicure, whatever they want to, or, bottle of wine, gift package, for whatever. Spend $100. It's well worth it. It goes a long way, because guess what? If they got a thank you note there on their desk or spa or something, they think about you first. And when deals fall out of the cracks, they think of who's taking good care of them. And I've gotten so many deals when asset managers have called us and said, listen, I just had a deal fall through. I think you might be interested in it, that they never marketed out, just because of the fact that we sent that little extra. And if you're going to buy even a $20,000 asset or a $200,000 asset, pay $100 and send them a gift. Okay. It's well worth it. And a thank you note goes a long way. Okay. Questions about dialing for dollars, ladies and gentlemen. Just do this, add this to, if you've got some time, great. Right now, a lot of people are working remotely or working from home. I get that. You're not going to get everybody at the office. Every time I've called the bank and it gets transferred their cell phone. Just follow up. If they say their cell phone, what I have found over the last 12 months is that more bankers are willing to speak with you. I've had more callbacks than I've had in a long time, from people calling back and telling me, yes, we've got this stuff. Yes, we're looking to move this stuff. Yes, yes, yes. Can't say yes now, but I can say yes in a month or yes next quarter. Okay. So you have to realize it just takes a little time. It's going to take some practice, and it's well worth doing. Okay. Like I said before, if you've signed up for the VIP pass, we'll have some scripts, we'll have some other things involved with this stuff that you can use when sending out to asset managers. Okay. Questions from you guys? Now, one of the things that we're going to go through on day 5, just so you know, we're going to go through dialing for dollar. Oh, so that's tonight. Sorry. Is going through Scotsman Guide a little bit, and how to use Scotsman Guide to find some more commercial notes tomorrow night on day 5. Okay. But as you can see, we're going to go through a lot of things. We're going to talk about how we can use LinkedIn groups to find asset managers, Facebook groups, conferences, a whole variety of other things over the next 16 days in finding deals, finding notes for you. Dialing for dollars. It's still a conversation game, ladies and gentlemen. Pick up the phone, do it. Trust me, you will not regret it. Okay.